We've all heard of Outfit 7. They're the creators of Talking Tom, Talking Ben, Talking Angela, and all of the other Talking Friends games. And you pick, what does that have? You've ever heard of them? Well, you probably living under a rock from the past 15 years ago. But I told you that Outfit 7 had another company that they published tons of games. This is Fun Network, and you might notice some similarities between his logo and Outfit 7's logo. Bothly they have the same smiley face. Fun Network was created in 2011 and it was shut down in 2014. And at their time existing, they published over 10 games. So let's take a look at some of these games. The first game I have yet to cover is House of Mice, released on 28th of July 2011. This was a 2D fascinating puzzle and hybrided, an app you speed ability to solve puzzles and help the mouse steal the cheese and defeat the cat. Then what you have to do is swipe to launch the mouse in different directions, destroying boxes and taking cheese. The art style reminds me a lot of Cut the Rope. It's super stylized game and has very cool sound effects and music. And I honestly wonder why this game wasn't more popular. The next game is Tickle Finger in the Jungle. And you might notice some similarities between its very young audience just from its art style. Much younger than the audience of House of Mice. This was a simplistic game that played a lot like the children's book. You follow the monkey around the jungle and learn about new things. To defeat the animals, you had to tickle them, which is very kind-friendly. To defeat them, there was really no challenge to get whatsoever, but it's nice to see that Outfit 7 was making games were actually meant to educate little kids, were being more fun than a traditional book. Our next app is the Smelly Sprout. And what I ended up realizing is while making this video was that this actually exists as a real book. Like Outfit 7 wasn't making an interactive version of the book that followed the same story as the book, some gameplay elements. That falls in with the trending that Outfit 7 was doing back in the day since interactive children's book was more popular in the early 2010s. So it's only natural, but Outfit 7 will do the same. Will do the notice the logo of these interactive books. It's that the icon itself, it's inside of the book. Well, we have a bunch of these interactive book apps like Princess Chocolate, The Giant Boy, Tickle Finger Under the Sea, Little Red Riding Hood, and Tickle Finger in the Dinosaurs. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one of these interactive book apps since we kind of get the point and we're going through every single one. We'll stretch this video out way too long, but it's cool seeing all of the other generous apps or Outfit 7 was trying to break back in the day. Outfit 7 and Fun Network keep making interactive book apps for a while until they decided to make Large Fruit Collider, which was pretty impressive and had a big chance from their book apps. They're from pretty unique idea from what I understand. You're a fruit and a particle interactor or collider, and you have to avoid obstacles and reach the end of the movement in the game. It reminds me a lot of the Lorenz series on cool math games, which I absolutely loved as a kid. This game was released on October of 2012, and like the other states, extremely obscure. If you look up gameplay videos, this game right now, you can find 3 videos, which combine every total like 2,000 views. So it's kind of crazy that after all these years, these games were still completely under the radar. The next game is Toy Balls, and that's pretty much it. Apart from a new screenshots, there's no download from the game, no gameplay videos, it's nothing, just the game released on January of 2013, and from the looks like a puzzle game where you can connect balls to disappear. And don't beat level 1s in creating the balls. You probably have to play games similar to this and doesn't seem like a super unique game, but in the fact there's pretty much no information surrounding except as far as I know, it's completely lost media. The next and final game that Fun Network was released was Groove Racer. Again, being completely different to any other apps they were released. This game released in June of 2013 and it was a simple 3D top-load racer game with the only control being pretty much holding your finger down and letting go at the right moments and trying not to fall off the track. Your car was placed on the groove since named Groove Racer, and falling off the groove will slow down a few seconds. This game feels not like Crossy Road type of art style, even though it's actually released before Crossy Road, and it's quite interesting that almost every single one of these games that Fun Network was released on different art style, the others, But unfortunately, Fun Network was ending shutdown in 2014, taking down all of their games with it. Except for Groove Racer, which stayed up on the App Store for more than a year after the shutdown, and finally removed late 2015. And today, if you install the IPK file for Groove Racer, the app is partially disk or file due. It's not being able to connect to Outfit 7 servers. But why was Fun Network shut down? Now, Outfit 7 never say the official reason, which I'm pretty sure using them, but are like a few likely reasons. And the first reason is profile. These games that were mostly similar to games with most of them being interactive books, they didn't have much vibe or appeal. The second reason is the fact that a lot of these apps, especially the book apps, were paid with free-to-play games, becoming more unpopular. There was no space to them and market. Another reason the brain focused in 2014, when Fun Network was shut down, Outfit 7's main Talking Friends series had become super massive, and they were working on their own TV shows, new games, and merchandise that was bringing them away more money that Fun Network could ever bring them. They simply dedicated for all of their resources of Talking Friends series instead of Fun Network, and they were last released listening costs. Since a lot of these apps, especially the books, were based off actual books, they had like to pay the owners of showing complicates, and they keep apps up, and they barely anyone downloaded the apps. There were not just no reason to keep playing all of these apps by Fun Network barely left a digital footprint on the internet. There were really aren't any views of these apps, and gameplay videos are few and far between. It's like these apps barely exist, and for these reasons, Fun Network quietly shut down, leaving behind a small legacy for those who still look for it. Exploring Fun Network history was quite cool. Taking a look in some of that, and never to the footage, but was that hard work on somewhere is pretty interesting. Finding gameplay for these clips, seeing videos uploaded to 10 or 14 years ago with 30 views each, it's super weird. I don't really feel like any gameplay videos had comments, and honestly doubt anyone has made a content about these games more than a video you're watching in the last 10 years. If you played any of these games at the time you're still in the App Store, let me know in the comments. I don't want to know how many OG we have watching this video. Anyways, I like and subscribe. It will be truly appreciated in the comment down below. And whatever should I post the next. See you in the next video.